Okay, so connecting to your web storage. There's two ways of doing this. My preferred method is to do it straight through Dreamweaver, simply because we're going to be working in Dreamweaver for this class. And it's easy to make changes in there and then simply open the file window and upload our new content. So we're going to start there. So up on our instructional support website, you're going to see there's a Get Connected, connecting to your W Drive document. And that's going to contain everything that I'm going to show you guys right now. It contains how to connect through mapping the network drive on the Mac. It's also got method 2 listed, basically where to go through Dreamweaver and the settings that you need to set that up. So what I'm going to show you guys is Dreamweaver first. And so when you pop open Dreamweaver, you may see over here on the side there's a little tab with a Files window. If you don't see that, you'll go to Window and click on Files. It's F8 as a keyboard shortcut. And what I like to do is pull it out, get it away from all that other stuff. And what I need to do is I need to establish a connection to my hosting service, or in this case, our storage on the server. The server, I'm guessing it's probably still over in the library. It's exactly what you'd expect. It's this big black box with a lot of flashing green, amber, and red lights with tons of wires coming out of it, spidering out into all directions. So we need to connect to that. So what I'm going to do is in my Files window, we have a little drop down here. It gives us option to view file locations or manage sites, and there's also a manage sites link right here. So I'm going to click on manage sites, and that's going to give me this window. So what I need to do is set up a new site. So I'm going to click the new site button. And I'm basically going to fill out some basic stuff here. This is so I can identify what's what in my connection. In the real world, if you're working for a studio as a web designer, this drop-down list that we saw in Files, you're going to have, maybe a dozen connections in there. My office that I work at over on Main Street, I have a total of 87 connections to different websites across different hosting services. Some are our own. Things like that. So this is how you're going to identify each website. You guys, in this instance, you're going to have just one. So it's going to be your Cart 206 website. I'm just going to call this Cart Web. And then we're going to set a local location. So the local location is where all of our files are stored locally on our computer. And this will change. If you're saving all of your stuff to a thumb drive, which I encourage you guys to do, it's going to, your storage location is going to be on your thumb drive. You might have to come through and reset this at some point. If you're saving it on the desktop, it'll be a folder on the desktop. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click the little folder icon. And if I had my thumb drive plugged in, it'd show up over here. I could select my thumb drive, make myself a folder. In this instance, I'm going to just put this on my desktop. So I'm going to go to my name, I'm going to go to the desktop, and I'm going to make myself a new folder. I'm going to call it Cart 206 and create, and then choose. And what you'll see is under local site folder, you're going to see the file path. So desktop, Cart 206 folder, that's all good right there. Now, before we save this, we're going to set up our connection. So on the left-hand side, you'll see a couple options: version control, advanced settings, servers. We want servers. So I'm going to click on servers, and then click on the little plus icon to add a new server. And it's the same deal. You guys doing okay? Okay so far? A little lost? I'm recording it, so you'll be able to go back. But yeah, I'll come and help you out in a second too. For now, just try and take some notes and follow along if you can. We'll come back to it in a minute here. So popping open, set up a new server. I'm just going to name this again. This is CartWeb. For us here, our connection using FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol. For us, we need SFTP, which is Secure File Transfer Protocol. So switching over to SFTP. And then the SFTP address that you're going to use is listed in our document. So for you guys, let's see here. It's listed right here. You're going to be students.oneonta.edu/your username. So that means in this box, you're going to put in students.oneonta.edu/your username. For me, because I'm an employee, mine is just simply employees. So employees.oneonta.edu/CrosbyKM is me. And then to authenticate this, to log into your storage, it's secure. Only someone with your password and username can get in. I'm going to come here. I'm going to drop in my username and password. Same as I would if I was logging into a computer on campus or going to check my email. Telling it to save password. It may forget your password at some point, or if you update your password at some point in the semester, this is going to say, hey, we can't connect. You'll just have to come back in, update your password, click save, and you should be okay. So now that I've got all this filled in, root directory is going to be / your username. You'll see it'll disappear from your address up here and move itself down here. Root directory is basically saying we're connecting to a server. On that server are folders. There's a folder for every employee, every student with your username. So we only want to access our stuff. So this is just saying your root directory, your root folder, your main folder is named this. This is where we're going to show you the files that are located there. This is where you're going to upload. This is where you're going to save to, download from, read from, all of that. So I'm going to test this, and it's going to flash a few things at you. You're not going to really be able to read it. And then it's going to say, hopefully, fingers crossed, Dreamweaver connected to your web server successfully. So I'm going to hit OK, and then I'm going to save all of this, and I'm going to hit Done. And what I'm going to do is, back in my file window, I'm going to expand it out a bit. And what I want to do is I want to be able to see both my local files, the files on my machine or my thumb drive that are here with me in the room. And I want to be able to see the remote files, the files that are online on the server, off wherever the server may be. So there's this little box on the right-hand side of the top menu bar. I'm going to click on that, and it's going to break my window into two parts. Local files, which are here in the room on the machine or the thumb drive, and remote files, which are on the server. So when I connect here with this little plug icon, you're going to see this is everything that's on the server. This is everything that's locally here with us. There's nothing here. This is the first time I'm connecting over here. So there's no files for my website locally for me to open up and work on. If I were to, have a file over here, work on it and save it, and then go to my website and see what my changes look like, it's not going to show up. And the reason it's not going to show up is because we have a newer version of that file locally than we do remotely on the server. So what we'd have to do is take that new local file, the new up-to-date one, the newest version, and upload it and overwrite our old one on the server so that way we could view it online. The changes we make won't be viewable online until we put them there. So when you're making changes throughout the semester, building your sites and going to look and see what's going on with it, if what you're seeing on your machine in Dreamweaver doesn't look the same as what you're seeing online, there's a good possibility that the new file you're working with in Dreamweaver hasn't been uploaded. So it's just a matter of going back through and uploading that new version. So what I'm going to do quick is I'm just going to grab a page for you guys. I'm just going to grab our home page. Home pages, if you're familiar, from 101 working with some web stuff, are always going to be called index. For you guys, you're going to see index.html. I built this using PHP, which we're going to talk about a little bit, just because some of it is pretty handy and convenient for when you guys are building larger websites. So I hit get on this, the little down arrow to download. I'm pulling from my remote server. Do I want dependent files, stuff that's attached to it like images and links? I'm just going to hit yes because I want that stuff right now. And it's going to go through and download everything. So now what you see here is I have files that are an exact mirror of what I have on the server. So I've got my index file online. I also have a copy of it over here locally. And if I double click on this, it's going to open it up in Dreamweaver. And because I'm using PHP, it's going to say, we can't show you everything. You have to set up what's called a local server side to view PHP, which I'm just going to ignore for now. You guys won't see that message. And what I see here, because I'm using PHP instead of HTML, it's not going to display like we see online on our website. It's going to be kind of odd looking. And if you're familiar with Dreamweaver, sometimes what you see is not what you get. That's where testing and previewing it in browsers is going to be a more useful tool than just by going with what you see in Dreamweaver. So you can see here, this is the code for the page. I have my linked files, those dependent files that I told it to get are listed up here. So I have my header file and my footer file, which my main page are calling for to be included with PHP, which we're going to talk about. Basically what this allows me to do, rather than having a navigation set up and having to go to like 5 or 6 pages and make the same change, I can drop my navigation into a header file using PHP, put my navigation in there, and then make a change just to that header file, save it and upload it. And because every other page is calling for that file as a resource, I'm only going to have to make that change once rather than 5 times. So if you can imagine having a website that's, 50, 60, or even hundreds of pages in size, I'd take changing that navigation menu just once over having to go through and keep track of all those pages as to which ones I've updated and which ones I haven't. So we're going to talk about that a little later on, just so you guys are aware of that as a resource for you if you end up in a position where you're working with this type of file layout. So that is connecting to your web storage. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how to get a basic hub page set up. And this is something I'll have you guys take a crack at. I'll help you out a little bit in here today if you're going to try and do that today. If not, do your best with it, and we'll take a look at it next week on Tuesday when we come in.